Oh, who's a good boy? Who wants to go backpacking? So even on the drive up here, it's been spectacularly beautiful. To be honest with you, the Scenic Highway is some of the best paved road in West Virginia. And we've had a couple of really neat different stop-offs, or pull-offs, that gave us some really scenic views.
Your destination is on the left.
And according to the GPS, and what I have seen on videos, we are here. Welcome, outdoor enthusiasts, to another episode with WV Hiking Adventures. We are currently located in the Monongahela National Forest in the Cranberry Wilderness area. I've got Chipmunk and Jack with me. They are loading up over there at the truck, getting last minute stuff put together. We are not exactly sure what we're doing, except for we're going out for 2 days and 1 night. We are going to check out the North Fork Loop, depending on what the creek crossings look like, because we have Jack with us. We might just be doing an in and out, going in about 7 miles and out 7 miles. Or if the creek crossings look good, we might connect this up with the Middle Fork and end up doing a 23-mile loop. We don't have a really good plan. Neither one of us has done any real backpacking here in the Cranberry before, so this is kind of an exploratory mission. I know this is one of the cooler trails out here from what I've read and seen on the old YouTube, so let's check it out. And as always, you're invited. Let's go. Alrighty, welcome to the Cranberry. Right off the bat, the trail is definitely a little muddy and mushy and deceptive, because it's truly like a bog from all the spruce needles. We have been getting a lot of rain lately though, so this was kind of expected. So here we go, we're going to get on into it. So, as any of you that have watched the channel know, I'm perpetually getting new gear and changing it out. One new piece for this trip, and I'm really liking it already, is this guy right here. This is from Dutch Wear Gear. This is what's known as the Gidget Bag. And I got this one in the large. I was having problems fitting all my camera gear into the little hip sack that I had kind of been using. I got this guy. It's pretty roomy. It's 10 inches this way, like 4 inches deep, maybe 5 tall. Fits all my camera gear in. And what I really like is it's made out of the real Robic. There you go, you can tell it's the real stuff. So it's highly water resistant, whereas the old fanny packs I was using wasn't at all. So it's pretty waterproof, and it's got Dutch's waterproof zipper in it. We'll see how it does, but so far it is the perfect size. It rides really comfortably. It's super light. Thanks, Dutch. And this is kind of neat. We're only a couple 100 yards into the trail. We come up to this big, beautiful meadow, But there's some cool snakes and a bunch of ticks in there. Alrighty, and here's the infamous little kiosk. It's a trailhead. I usually don't like graffiti, but somebody's put some right up here at the top. You can't really read it, but it is a quote from Winnie the Pooh. I will always get to where I'm going by walking away from where I've been. And that's some pretty sound advice. Alrighty, we aren't even a half a mile in, and you can just see we're in this beautiful, lush forest. The trail's gotten a little less squishy, a little more rocky. That's okay. So, talking about the new gear, the new Gidget Bag I'm carrying. Piece of gear that I didn't plan on mentioning until the next video because it hadn't arrived yet. I was actually waiting on them this morning. Is some new trekking poles. Basically getting the same thing I have, just in the carbon fiber version. And instead of the twist locks, which I'm not real crazy about, it's got the quick locks on it. Kind of like I have right there up top, just with the cam lock. I'm not so crazy about the twist locks. And that got confirmed about 100 yards ago. The twist lock right here completely failed. It just kind of flops around. The bungee doesn't even hold it in now. I had to duct tape it. I found out though, anytime I stick it in mud and then go to pull it back out, it tries to separate on me, so don't know if it's going to be surviving. Of course, the problem with that is, with the dog, I set my tarp up in porch mode so we can put his tent under it. So, yeah, that might get fun if this thing actually completely breaks. So, next video, I'll definitely be sporting some new trekking poles. And just look at all the little tiny trees and this absolutely gorgeous moss covering the ground everywhere. This really has that magical Lord of the Rings forest feeling to it. And the trail's dried up. And yeah, there's still some rocks. There's also what feels like about 4 to 6 inches of old spruce needles covering the trail. And this part is pretty cushy. Still a little wet in some spots. You sink in, but not full on mud, just kind of boggy, squishy. Absolutely beautiful day. All blue skies, sun is shining. Alrighty, we have made it to our first trail intersection. That actually says North-South Trail and Scenic Highway that way. It's kind of hard to read, but that's what it says. I am not seeing any other signs. And we are at the classic 4-way intersection. Now, I believe that's the North-South Trail, and we don't want to go that way. I'm thinking this might be the way we want to go. I think where Chipmunk is right there, that goes to the middle fork. Behind me is the North Fork. This is the North-South. But just to be sure, mainly because I don't trust us. And by us, I mean, not pointing any fingers, but yeah, we're gonna check the GPS just to make sure. Hey, check it out, I was right. That's us right there. The little red, blue lines where we came in. This is the intersection. So absolutely, we need to go that way. Quick word to the wise, even if you have a wife that never gets lost.
I never get lost. Never ever.
you want to bring a GPS out here. This is kind of like Dolly Sods. This is a wilderness area. Wilderness. Do you know what that means? Okay, now that you've been informed on what a wilderness is, there are no blazes. There might be intersection signs, but you can't depend on it. So bring a map, bring a GPS. Maybe somebody that knows where they're going. We don't have that luxury, so we're going to be those guys for somebody else eventually. So anyway, enough said. Bring some navigation and some skill. And if you're going where we go, go this way. Wilderness also means there's no trail maintenance. So if you come out here, don't expect somebody to have just come through with a weed eater and trimmed it 2 foot off the trail. Some of the sections it won't be like that. Besides this being designated wilderness, how do you pick a wilderness zone? Well, this one kind of is all on its own, no matter how man tries to encroach on it. Another thing that factors in with this wilderness, no cell phone service. None. You lose it way before you get here, like probably an hour before you get here. So we were talking about those GPSs. Pre-download your maps, or you won't have any once you get here. There is no signal. Maybe having one of the Garmin and Garmin Minis where you've got the SAT capability and you've got that panic button to activate EMS. If you have one, this is probably a good place to bring it. I know I have mine. So far from what I can see, this is just an absolutely beautiful area though. Just be prepared when you come out here and actually realize what wilderness means. Yeah, one more little thing on the wilderness rant and then I'll quit. You gotta worry about bears in this area. And not only this being just an awesome habitat for them, this is a bear sanctuary. They are not hunted here. So they might be a little more interested in you than normal. Definitely hang your bear bags away from camp. Maybe not cook in camp. Enough said. You can either listen to me or not. Either way, try not to get eaten by bears. Really neat little creek running right here beside the trail. And hopefully where I'm getting it here in the sunlight and by some green leaves for comparison, you can see how red it is. Alrighty, progress report. We're a couple of miles in. The forest has opened up a little bit. This was clearly an old logging road at some point. It's about the right width for it. The forest is just too dense for this to be naturally occurring. But the actual trail itself has changed a little bit. Still a little tiny bit spongy, but we've pretty much gotten out of the wet stuff. A few rocks here and there, but not bad. Most of the ones we see are flat rocks. And it's been pretty soft and cushy and relatively dry here for the last mile or so. Really comfortable to hike on. Yeah, there's been a little bit of blowdown on the trail, but nothing too major. Usually either big enough like that you can go under, or small enough like these guys right here that you can easily step over. We actually haven't had to go around anything so far. So one really nice thing about this trail is, basically since about the first half mile in, we've been following this little creek, running just right down the left side of the trail, which is nice. You don't have to carry a bunch of water, at least so far, on this first 4 miles in. There's water right there by the side of the trail whenever you want it. Of course, the nice thing about that is you can lighten your pack up significantly by carrying a lot less water. Speaking of which, I've been working on getting my base weight down. Not total pack weight, because I do have camera gear here in the front pack, and I'm carrying a couple pounds of dog gear. But my base weight with a chair for this trip, I got down to 10.5 pounds. Once I go to a frameless pack, I'm going to be able to achieve my goal of being ultralight with a chair. But for right now, I'm really close. I've got about 1.5 pounds of dog gear in here. I'm only carrying, I started with 1.5 liters. I'm down to about 1 liter of water now, which is nice, and a little bit less because Jack's getting a drink of water right now. And I've got about 1 pound of food with me and about 4 ounces of fuel, so I'm definitely still feeling pretty light for this trip. All right, you kind of come to this Y, and that is the bigger area over there. It has that old access road feel to it, and that looks like what might be the trail. But we do have a cairn, and it is absolutely the marker. We just checked the GPS. You want to take this right bend. Apparently we're going to have another right switch back here pretty soon. We're going to bleed off some elevation. Video inception. So after making those switchbacks, I thought we were going to bleed off a bunch of elevation, sort of heading down the mountain. We actually just kind of made a 180, and we're headed right back the way we were, still staying pretty level. Apparently this goes on for about a mile, and then we do another 180 switchback and start heading back our original direction. Since coming through here though, the trail has opened up a lot. The woods aren't as dense. You can actually see through them a little bit. We've seen one little bigger creek coming in. A bunch of these little creeks have kind of put together. And I can hear some water off in the distance. Something definitely sounded bigger than what we've seen so far today. This is beautiful. It's a little bigger than I was anticipating on this part of the trail. I don't think it's going to be a problem for us. I'm just a little concerned about Jack. We'll get set up here and see how it goes. Come on, buddy. Come with Dad. Come on. Come on. For long, but that's chilly. Woo. I don't know if this will come out on video, but there are these little itty bitty tiny birds, so small, making the loudest noise. So yeah, if anybody knows what these little guys are, leave a comment. Okay, a little muddy, a little bit spider webby. I just walked through one. Oh, and he's climbing up my arm. Yeah, trekking poles. Use number 912. Killed spider on your arm while you're videoing. Anyway, A little cobwebby, a little muddy, nothing bad, nothing over the top of my shoes. But the trade-off, once again, is it's been nice and cool today. Yeah, I know back home, just an hour and a half away, it was supposed to be high 70s, low 80s today. We're looking at the low 60s right now from what I just checked going through here. Yeah, and that's later on in the afternoon. Let me see, what is today? It is June 11th. Just beautiful weather. We only have like a 10% chance of rain tonight, like 0 tomorrow. It has just been perfect hiking weather. Beautiful, sunny, but not hot. So far, I don't want to jinx this, it's not been crowded. This is a Tuesday though, so avoiding it on the weekend always helps. But when we got here, there were 2 other vehicles at the trailhead, and within a half a mile of going down the trail, we ran into a group of 4 guys that I suspect, there were quite many, I suspect they were coming out, and that was them parked at the trailhead. So who knows, we might end up having this place to ourselves. That'd be pretty cool. Oh wow, this moss and fern is just amazing. Oh, I mean, I'm not walking on it because I know that's a no-no, but man, I was so tempted. I bet it's so soft and cushy. Yeah, buddy, we got a little bit of a muddy section here. Squishy squish. All right, let's see how we do. Oh, that looks good and deep. Oh, yeah. All right, not too bad. Oh, I see where Deb went. Squishy, squishy. Go, chipmunk, go. All right. Yeah, sometimes the trail and the creek are the same thing. No big deal. There we go, creek, trail. Sometimes they just share the low ground. But as I was saying earlier, tons and tons of water. So far, I have never been more than like 15 foot from a water source. And usually moving water to boot, so that makes things a way easier. Okay, maybe that one might have gone over the top a little, but it was short. And then you're back into this. All right, we are right about 5.7 miles. And look at that cool little slide. Alrighty, we are about 7 miles in. I'm trying to pick up the pace a little bit here because it's about 5:15, and I'm not even sure where we're camping yet. So I know we got to go across the river. I definitely want to get that knocked out of the way. And we got misdirected a little bit going through one of the big bogs. We had to go back and forth through this calf-deep bog about 4 times, encounter the snake of death. One of the rare times chipmunks up front when we see a snake. And I asked what kind and how big, and she said don't ask. So as you can probably infer from that, I'm not a big fan of them. We're going to start trying to move a little bit now. So, right in here, we're getting close to where we've got to cross anyway. But there's been a bit of a slide. That's where the trail used to go, right along there. And that might go down to where we're supposed to cross. We had to billy goat up the side, pretty much right up this stuff, only the elevation we've dealt with all day. And I think we're gonna have to go around this way and drop back in. Yeah, you can tell all this, especially like right here. That's all recently slid. Neat view of the river though. You can truly tell how red it is. I have no filters on it all. You can tell, you can see through it down to the bottom and see the rocks. It's just that red from the tannins. Look at this. It's like the land of the gnomes again. All these little itty bitty trees. Makes you feel like a giant. And we do appear to be back on the right path. That's a neat looking one. This is just neat looking. It almost looks fake green in some of the sections. And just the little itty bitty ponds all over the place. The way the moss just covers up the roots, rocks. You stay right there, Jack. Don't worry, Jack, we're not going to go that way. Alrighty, the chipmunk's working on her third crossing now, God love her. She took her pack across first, dropped it off, and I wasn't liking how deep it looked on her. I went downstream a little bit, see if I could find something a little more shallow, right below that drop, down in there. That was actually thigh deep on me. This is way over my knees. If it was just me and Chipmunk, fine. Even dropping off the packs. He doesn't dig water anyway. I'm not doing this. We might be staying right here. We thought it was a big, huge rock formation from up top. This is how we came down. It's actually an old foundation. Kind of nifty looking. So we're gonna climb back up, maybe check it out. And if not, there's some other campsites back down the trail. We can try to get there before dark. Yeah, I'm all about taking risks with me and Chipmunk, but with the little boy, nah, that ain't happening. All right, Chipmunk has grabbed her pack, and she's getting ready to do her 1, 2, 3. This is her 4th crossing right here. Yeah, she didn't get me on film. She was with the dog. I went over, and when I got to about that way, right in there, it gets deep. So, no puppy crossing. Not only deep, but there's actually some current to it. It looks pretty calm where she's at, but it's actually trucking along. There's a couple hundred CFS. cubic feet of water a second going through this creek today, I guarantee you. Yeah, you can see it's almost butt deep on her in there. And without trekking poles to boot. Nicely done. Yeah, you can see how deep it is on Chipmunk right there by the water marks. It'd be above your head. Alrighty, I think we are home for the night. We are right by this beautiful creek. Got a fire ring right here. Chipmunk says she's got a place to hang right over there. I got this giant tree right there, but luckily I got 15-foot straps, so I think I'll be good to go, and right by the river as well. A little bit of a slidey entrance, but that's okay. We're home for the night. Okay, before it gets too dark, I kind of wanted to show a couple of changes in my setup. This is kind of neat here. Just because of the way I'm squeezed in with the trees, I'm so tight I can't put it in full porch mode because of that tree. So I've got a pole right here and then just tight to the ground over there, kind of in a modified porch. But that's okay because I got room to put Jack's tent in here. With the chameleon's the same. I did add one more bag down here out of Dyneema, so I'm pretty styled out that way. I've got a bag on each end, plus this little mesh organizer. It weighs nothing. Quilts. Got a new underquilt. This is the 40-degree premium incubator. And something I did a little different is I've got these two little itty-bitty beaners. It's really not showing up very well, but I've got two little beaners, bungee, and a little bitty cord lock. The nice thing about the chameleon is it's got all these different spots with hooks and loops and the hammock gear hammock. So I'm able to clip one here, and this is my head end. And I've got one over on the foot end. I tried that last trip, and I didn't have to shift my underquilt at all. This is my second trip with it. Last one was at 42 degrees. Totally comfortable. And also got a new top quilt. I had 30-degree stuff and it was just cooking me. This is a new 40-degree premium burrow from Hammock Gear as well. And normally I'm not a big camouflage guy, but we had some trips coming up and, well, it was available. I didn't have to wait for the custom build on it. Got Chipmunk over here. She's still working on her netless hammock. She has a lot more engineering to do than me. She's in a super tight little spot that I believe she is going to make it work. So yeah, that's a little tour of my camp for the night and some of my new gear. I'm pretty excited about the new quilts. They're a lot lighter to carry and have seriously helped me knock my base weight down. If I don't have dog gear with me, I've got my base weight down to 10.5 pounds, and that's with a chair. If I leave the chair at home, I can actually go ultralight. Well, the chair and the dog, and I'm not really willing to leave either at home right now. My goal though is to get ultralight with a chair. So anyway, there's camp. It's got the fire ring. I still got a gear explosion I need to clean up. Jack's got some food and water. We've got the readily available water source right here. And a pretty white noise generator. Pretty decent. Alrighty guys, real quick, I'm just going to show you what kind of stove system I use here. It's basically a Fancy Feast stove, alcohol stove. I have a Toaks 550 milliliter cup. Lid, my fancy windscreen. I've actually had a couple of people ask about this. It's nothing more than folded aluminum foil. Just done kind of neatly. There's about 4 layers in there, and then I used a paper hole punch to put air holes around the bottom, and I can just set it to whatever size I need, and it's small enough it goes, all this stuff goes inside of my cup. I'm going to be boiling about 12 ounces of water, so we'll probably go with about an ounce alcohol. I've got it in this little safety bottle. And it squeezes out, doesn't spread everywhere. And the little measuring cups just from like Robitussin or something like that. Some little medicine bottle, no big deal. The nice thing I like about these alcohol stoves is there is actually a wick around the outside. It'll absorb that up. Flame comes up here. So after a minute it sucks it up and you don't have to worry about spilling all your alcohol if you'd happen to knock it over. There we go. It is lit up. Just that simple. Drop Mr. Windscreen on there. See if I can do this one-handed. It just basically sets on there and keep it fairly tight, almost like a caldera cone. Throw the lid on. About 5 minutes I should have some boiling water. And the other little thing is this is my little pot grabber, and this is just some of that pack towel stuff. No big deal. It all fits inside. My whole cook system fits in there, and we're at just under 4 ounces, so pretty pleased. So that's real fun, Gavin, explaining that to you, but I'm gonna get some water boiled and eat because I'm hungry. Very hungry. Alright, Jack's about finished chomping down on his kibble. Chipmunk got done way early. She's doing some kind of crazy cold soaking craze. She does get to eat sooner than me though. She's out gathering some kindling right now. We're gonna see if maybe, just maybe, we can make a fire. I am done. My food is just about ready to go. It's close enough for me. I'm having a Mountain House chicken and dumpling, and then it has another cup of freeze-dried chicken in it. I got a tin of. I went ahead and made up some coffee. I know it's crazy to drink it late at night before bed, but just want something warm, and stove's still going. So you'll have to excuse me for a minute, but this guy's hungry. Really, really hungry. It is, wow. It's about 8:20. We're gonna be losing light before long. I can't believe how bright it still is. Oh my God, that's so blinding. Ah, I've got a light on my camera I keep forgetting about. I never knew if it actually worked at nighttime. It does. Blinding me. There's the main reason that we're so in the dark. We have a failed fire. Bear in mind, there wasn't exactly a ton of effort put into it. It's just everything around here is soaking. It's rained for the last 3 days straight, and yeah, everything. Wow, I'm kind of sweating. There's Chipmunk. There's Jack. He is pretty much out for the night. This thing actually puts off a fair amount of light for up close. And there's the creek still. It hasn't moved. I'm gonna finish up my coffee, hang the beer bag, and then to be honest with you, I think it's gonna be about time to go to bed. It is, no wonder I'm starting to get tired. It's 5 after 9. I might make it till 10, so. See you guys in the morning. Be good. Even if you don't see me, I'm like Santa, I'm still watching. Good morning. Whew. We got chilly last night. I stayed warm in the hammock. The new 40-degree quilts, awesome. Hammock gear, thank you so much. Especially the way you rushed that first one to me in 3 days. That was pretty awesome. But the 40 degrees, definitely go down to 40. It was supposed to get down to 42 last night. I think it was a little colder than that. Chipmunk was definitely chilled. I had to get up to pee once last night. And brrr, I didn't think it was that bad until I climbed out from under the quilt and brrr. My watch died and I have no idea how cold it actually got. I don't know if I trust the thermometer in any way. But yeah, I'll be interested in checking the weather report and seeing how low it got last night. Definitely lower 40s. But Jack and I are up. Chipmunk's still crashing a little bit. We're gonna go grab the food bags where I am. They're hanging over here in the tree. I'm gonna go retrieve those and start me some breakfast. Alrighty, we are gonna boil up some water. We're at least having us some Nescafe for breakfast. I don't know if I'm doing the skillet yet or not. Actually not that hungry this morning. I'm not a big breakfast guy at home. I usually just eat it on the trail. Yeah, as you can see, got the hammock broke down. Thought a few drops of rain this morning, so I'm moving the tarp up until absolute last second. But it was a good home for the night. A little chilly for the chipmunk. She doesn't like the cold. Alright, Deb's getting her stuff slowly packed up. This is kind of weird, walking through the tarp backwards. Got everything pretty much break down with the tarp. We have eaten breakfast, putting everything together. Puppers got warmed up a little bit. And of course, when I say we ate breakfast, well, Deb ate some food and I drank coffee because that is one of the basic food groups, at least when camping. So, I've still got a breakfast skillet that's come out on 3 trips. I guess it's gonna have to do at least 4 before it gets eaten. Not a big breakfast guy anyway, but a lot of times out here I do eat breakfast, just not today. Give you one last look at that awesome little white noise generator we got to listen to last night. We're gonna pack it up and see you on the trail. All right, Jack has swept the beach, made sure that we've got everything picked up. I think we are good to go. All right, we have packed her up. We are headed out of here. I am not going up the mud steps. I'm gonna go this way. Yeah, leaving this campsite does require a little bit of technical skill. A little rock climbing. This guy cheats though. He brings 4 paws to the party. Go on, Jack. You want to run up to Mom? Come on. Go to Mom. Yeah, he makes it look awful easy. Alright, this goes against my better judgment, but there's no sense in shooting her if I'm not going to do it too, so I am going to throw the trekking poles up. Sorry, Jack. Oh! Please don't break the camera when I fall. Hey, that didn't turn out so bad at all. And And while I've gotten the shoes cleaned off and relatively dry to start the morning hike, here's what we get to do first thing. Yum! Alrighty, we have gotten back out onto the trail, no worries. Sunlight is actually peeking through in spots. Oh! Just stepped down into that creek. Which way we going, buddy? Which way? We're letting Jack take the lead for a little bit. And he says it's time for a water break. Here's something I didn't notice. Look at that little guy growing out of a little pocket in the rock. Well, we are back at the creek again, which means we are getting feet wet again. But to be honest with you, I think it actually dropped a little bit. We're still getting wet. And we've made it across the creek, no worries. And back into the crazy bird land. God, can't believe something that little can make that big of a chatter. So, yeah, for real. If any of you guys know anything about birds, please leave a comment. I'd love to know what it is that annoys me. Funny that way. I mean, they're cool, but God, they're loud. And we're into the big open section again. Comes along with birdland. Not a lot of the trail is like this. Sometimes you kind of got the steep hill and the drop off on the other side, but this area is really wide open. You could for sure go traipsing out in there for about a half a mile and get lost real quick, I bet. Just tons of cool little water drops and rapids. I mean, some of this stuff's like steep too. I'm not really able to shoot it, but there are some dead vertical drops in there. And don't forget, guys, Chipmunk takes all kinds of pictures on Instagram. WV Hiking Adventures at Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Hit us up on any of them. Tell you one thing's for sure though, we have already decided we are definitely coming back into this area for a few more trips. I believe our next encounter we're going to go for going to be the middle fork. That was the other half of this loop. And actually I want to come back and just do this loop in reverse, start with middle fork. Wait until the water's down a little bit so we can bring Jack. I mean, I know the simple answer is just board him and come out and do it without him. I really don't want to do that. I mean, sometimes I'll have to, but I dig bringing my dog out on these trips. If that can be avoided, I'm going to do it. You know, we carry extra gear, but it's worth it. For that little guy. Where is he? There he is. Nice, nice. Good job, buddy. Yeah, who's a good boy? Come on. Yes, nice. All right, we are about 13.5 miles in on this undetermined mileage loop. I'm gonna guess somewhere around 16. I haven't checked the GPS for a bit, but I think that's about it. We'll let you know at the end. But I just want to do a quick timeout and talk about gear fails. First of all, the trekking poles. It did kind of work. And even if it hadn't, just because of the way we had to set up last night, I only used one trekking pole for porch mode. I had that kind of weirdo one, if you remember. So I would have gotten by, and I have a brand new pair waiting for me at home in theory. Same company. These guys aren't really expensive, and to be honest, I got about 160 miles out of these, and they were 20 bucks, so it's not a complete loss, and I've still got one for spare parts. This guy, the Gidget Bag. Dutch gets the big thumbs up. This thing worked. It's what I was looking for. It's what I needed. You can mount it a million different ways. It's water resistant. It's got the waterproof zipper. And the large is just big enough for me to carry all of my camera gear, plus a couple other little things. So this thing is definitely getting the A++. New top quilt. Yeah, that thing worked. Like I said, I'm not sure the temperature. It was at least lower 40s. They're both 40 degrees, and I was warm. I slept in shorts and a t-shirt last night. It was perfectly toasty. Chipmunk, she borrowed my 30. She said she was okay, but she's got some kind of weirdo thermostat in her body. But she did okay. She was all right. And yeah, I think that's going to be about it for the gear, at least what I remember for now. If something else comes up, I'll remember it, but we're going to keep trudging on down the trail. Yeah, look how red that water is. This is like the birthplace of all moss. And it's just electric green. You can tell I'm not blowing it up. Because look, the shoes are red, and that's normal. They're not electric red, like the electric green of that moss. So one other trail note I want to throw out there while I'm thinking of it is the bug situation. Granted, busted through a bunch of spider webs yesterday, but never really saw any big spiders. It was just cool enough and just windy enough. I mean, perfect hiking temperatures. Yesterday was like upper 60s. I'd say it's about what it's feeling like right now. And real cool last night. Haven't really had any bug issues. I haven't had to use any bug spray. Yesterday on the trail, I commented the chipmunk. It's kind of weird. I saw some swarms of gnats hovering up above us on the trail, but I never had any of them mess with me. Yeah, you would think as boggy, muddy, marshy a mess as some of this has been, that it would be accompanied by bugs, but I'm just guessing the cooler temperatures and enough of a breeze, and we have had a nice breeze the last couple days. It has been perfect weather for this. Check them out. Oh man, just magnificent. Look how beautiful. Look at his head, the green and the black. That's great. Oh wow. Coming out of the big green tunnel for just a second and actually hitting some direct sunlight. You don't get a lot of that down here. You're kind of enveloped by the forest, one might say. And one other thing worth noting on this trail I want to throw out there, I've kind of been saying it the whole time anyway, but yeah, except for maybe the first mile of the trail. After that, I don't think we were ever more than 50 foot away from water. And you're kind of following the creek the whole way down. Different little creeks till you get down to the river. So you absolutely do not have to haul in a bunch of water, which is always a plus. And super easy way to lighten your load. Oh, I can tell we are about to our four-way intersection, because for the first time we are out in the true sun. Oh my gosh, look how blue that is. Check it out, real sunshine. We finally found the spot they pipe it in, but that's been fine. Like I said, this is probably going to be a good place for us to come back to in the summertime. You're shaded a lot of the time. Boy, that's just a beautiful view right through there. But yeah, summertime might be great. You're shaded a lot. There's tons of water. Maybe let it come down. The mud's not going to completely dry out, but that's okay. We're definitely going to be coming back here a few times. Alrighty guys, we are just about back to the trailhead. Once we get there, I'll give you a final mileage count, but I just wanted to stop for a quick second right here by the rock cairn and say thanks a lot for joining us on this little adventure. Make sure you make the time to go out there and do these kind of things for yourself, okay? Get the exercise, have some fun, treat yourself well. And then when you come home and you're relaxing, plop down on the couch, hit the remote, go straight to YouTube and see what WV Hiking Adventures was doing. If you had fun, please hit the like button. If you didn't have fun, still hit the like button. And we'd really love it if you guys would subscribe, hit the little dingy bell, and you'll know whenever we put out a new video. So we're gonna keep on moving down the trail just a little bit further, but thanks for joining us. Alrighty, we have made it back to the road, as is evident by the car passing by. That's the one I'm concerned with, mine. It does seem to be sitting over there. And from here, all the windows seem to be intact, which makes me super, super happy. Ooh, good, there is a little bit of shade. Got somewhere to hook up the dog. I still haven't eaten anything today. So we're gonna pop open the truck. I'm sure it's super hot. We'll get out of this gear. Let me check the mileage for you guys real quick. Alrighty, there we go. 15.7 miles. Did about 9.5 of that yesterday. So, alrighty, so ended up doing almost 16 miles. That's respectable for an overnight. Did about 9.5 that the first night, so definitely cool. We got to try out some new gear, check out a new area, and find out that we like it and we're gonna be back. So until next time, thanks a lot. See you later. Stay tuned for more.